Well, I have my microphone on mute. I pressed the button, it was flickering. Okay, yeah, I was just saying stuff. So what I'm trying to do is remember the roles for the transcription. And I keep forgetting. So anyway, Matt covered with the 5, came down with a 6, then he rolls a double 6. And he stays on the 15 point. Danny fans again. Matt rolls his 6-2, right? Yeah. How many times do we have to do this? And eventually he's going to play 9-7. He's going to toy. Who knows whether having my audio is any better than just the sound of dice. The sound of dice is nice. So he does play 9-7, and let's remember that Danny comes in with a 5-2, and Matt rolls a 6-1. Okay, so back on the XG. Be back in a sec. Here I am. Okay, things are going really badly wrong. Why are there 3 checkers on the bar? I don't know why I had 3 checkers on the bar. I don't know why. This position just doesn't look right to me. We're going all the way back. Back, baby. So anyway, we're on game 3, and you know, this is from the 5K buy-in, and I'm supposed to be just going through and commenting, but every time I try and remember the transcription, I could do it as we go along, but I prefer just to look at the moves as we go. So no big deal. Let's just go back what we did yesterday. It's fine. It's all fine. So beginning of this game, we're going to be, Danny's going to roll a 3-2. We're going to reach the next game very shortly. Using my back arrow. Alright. Okay. So Danny brings his 3-2 down. Wells is 6-2. So I commentated on this stuff yesterday, so if you want to know all the wise words I have to say about this 6-2 and this 5-3, then just watch the first part of this video. 5-3, he makes the 5 point. 4-3 comes around, okay. Hitting 5-1, I remember coming in, playing 6-5. Double 4, I didn't really remember. And then 1-5. No, yeah, 1-4, and he comes in with the 20 on 21. Just plays 6-5 instantly, and then Matt is gonna cube. Of course, an easy take. The 3-2. He's gonna hit and he's gonna come up to the 21. This we all did yesterday, so I'm just trying to get the position back on the board. This is the 1-5. Five-4, he comes out. Yeah, 6-1. And then 2-1. Okay, so this was right. I think I had it. Back to the transcription. Get it on the board. We don't like that 5-3. Five one is a nice roll. So far so good, remembering the stuff. Double 4. 4-1. Double. Take. 3-2. 21 and 4. Then the 1-5. Then the 5-4 coming out, covering. 6-1. He did that. And then Matt rolled a 2-1 and hit and went to the 5 point. And then this very big play coming in and hitting 4-2. hitting twice. Danny fanned. And then Matt rolled a 6-5. Danny fanned again. And then, okay, this is where we went wrong. Matt rolled a double 6, came out, made the 7. And that's all good. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the stream now. Because I forgot at which precise moment Danny came in, even though I've watched it 3 times already. That's the double 6. Don't think he comes in after the double 6. But let's see. No, he fans, and then Matt rolls a 6-2. And tinkers around with it for a while before settling on 9-7. And then I think, let's try and remember this, Danny rolls a 2-5, I think. Okay, and then Matt rolls a 6-1. I just sense I'm going to forget this. 6-1, play 5-4. And then do we have the double 2? 2-1. Coming in, play 5-4. Okay, I think I can just about this. As far as the plays are concerned, here I think I would try play 6-3, trying to clear the bar before he improves, but I think that it's touch and go as to whether or not he's going to improve his board or not. As in, you might be able to hold your timing and wait till he overshoots, rolls too big. So Matt goes for 6-3. Danny rolls a 4-3, okay, plays 8-4, 6-3. Now I'm not going to get too ambitious because my memory is, let's pause after that and go back to, let's have a look at the 6-3 and things like that. So after the double 6, Danny fanned, and then Matt rolled the 6-2. Let's have a look at the 6-2. So we can see the 6-5 is a mistake, or not. It overrules. Not sure. Look for the XG icon to see what the computer initially wanted to play, and there isn't one. This is the XG icon that I'm talking about. This is what I think if the computer level is set to extreme gammon, that's the play that it would make. The one that is next to the little icon. Then fan, and then Matt 6-2, and he should actually play 6-4, allowing him 6s. I'm not going to talk too much about that because I don't really know what's going on there, but then Danny rolled his 2-5, Matt rolled a 6-1, which is a bad roll obviously because he can't hit on the deuce, but he played 5-4. Then Danny rolled a 2-1 and it's pretty much forced, and then Matt rolled a 5-3 and he played 6-3. I think 7-4 is okay. In any case, we can just input Danny's next move, which I remember is 8-4, 6-3. And it's doing its making its berserk noises because it can't cope. So we want to have a look at, let's have a look at the, for some reason didn't realize there are only 2 legal plays, but 7-4 is best by a little bit. Yay! And like I said, I think that you're trying on balance to rip these checkers off, clear it, whilst before Danny improves his board, although I can see that it's close in that you might be walking into the moment when he has actually made his board improved to its highest potential. So yeah, that's my comment. And so what have we got here? A 6-4. Why are we missing? Why did I not even clock the 6-4? So he, after the 4-3, here we are. Okay, there was a 6-4. Okay, it's forced. Double 3 is gonna. Yep, very good play. Nice roll. Slotting the 7 point. Matt, I think rolls I've seen this before. Only up to the next couple of games. 6-3. He'll play 6-3. Danny rolls a 3-1. I'm only calling out the rolls just so I can try and remember them for the transcription. 3-2. I think I will probably remember this. Is that a 4-2 or a 4-1? 4-1. Okay. So after Matt's 6-4, Danny rolled a 3-1. Oh. And then a 6-3. And then I've already forgotten. That is incredible how I can forget. Ah, 3-1. 3-1 and picking up a bit of fluff from the board. 3-2. And the 4-1. We're going to go for a fourth move. See how we fare. 5-1. So definitely a decision here. Reasonable to play either. And people in the shot would scream, "Oh no, but you leave a double shot with 6-5." I'm like, okay, is that the only... I think I would go for 4-3, but I would have to stop and think about it, and I'm just trying to remember the transcription more than anything. "5-4", maybe hoping to roll something like 6-1, 3-1, 2-1. Okay, he does go for that. I think it could be okay. So Danny rolls a 5-3. He's going to stay back. Of course, he's not going to break the anchor. 4-3 is forced. Already worrying about the transcription. 5-2 comes out to the 16. 5-4 is a nasty one. "5-1 is going to miss, and he probably no reason not to play 2-1 with the 1. Double 6. And 4-2, I think he can stay back on the 23 point. Let's have a look. Am I going to remember any of this stuff? And 3-1, this is really interesting. And the difficulty with playing 1-off and 3-2 is that you leave so many repeat shots. Whereas, of course, if you play 4-3, you actually still do, but it's slightly, you leave less, quite a lot less. I'm going to go back to the transcription though. See what we have. Danny rolled a 3-1, and then Matt rolled his 3-2, which is a fabulous roll. Brought 2 in. Danny rolled 4-1. Matt rolled 5-1. Played 5-4. Computer doesn't like it, but I think probably. I was going to say it's close, but it's not. I wouldn't have played it, but I wouldn't have known what was right, so I don't really get credit for that. It's just a random thing. Most people would just play 4-3 without really knowing why. And I would have done too, but there you go. It is a big it is the right play, and it's a mistake to take a checker off your 5-point. Maybe, you know, the fact that he rolled 5-4 is a clue to why it was bad to do what he did. Danny rolled 5-3, right? And had to do that, and then Matt rolled 5-4, leaving a shot, and then Danny no. Oh no. God give me strength. Why am I forgetting stuff? That's not how it went. But it's close. But close isn't good enough. Matt rolled the 4-3. Okay, alright, maybe. It's weird how the memory how it works. 4-3, and then Danny rolled 5-2, had to come off. Back to the transcription. Then the 5-4. Then 5-1, which Danny played all the way round. And then Matt rolled boxes, wow. So we know that the 5-1 is wrong, but it's a small detail, so he should play 2-1. Or a big detail, but it's a detail, it's not really an instrumental part of the game. I mean, you have to hit him first. That's the problem. 4-2. Did we roll? I don't even remember. I think he did, and then Matt rolled 3-1. So a little bit of an inaccuracy from Matt with the 5-1. Like, interesting that he played that. That he played it like that. You know. How to watch a backgammon stream 5 times over with Simon Bargett. Simon Bargett. What a lovely roll that 4-3 is, though. The 5-2. Lenny, you still with us? I want to know. I got 2 guys with us. I got 2 of you with me. 5-4. And then the 5-1. Ooh. The 3-1 is a really interesting play, right? Okay, let's have a look. Let's try and make some sense of this. Like, can we visualize this? If we take one off and do this, and let's say, for the sake of argument, that he just comes in with a 1-3. He's got a checker on the 3 checkers on the 24 point, and you've got 2 on the 4, 3 on the 3, and 1 on the 2. And then you see that if you roll like one of your good numbers, like a 6-4, you're still leaving a single ace shot. Can you? That's just one variation, I know, but let's say that you just take one off and you get missed. Then you roll like your 6-5 or 6-4. You take 2 off. You don't leave a shot, but you leave a horrible structure on the 3 point. Good morning, Ahmad. Ahmad Salib says good morning. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. So just by going through some of the numbers randomly, indeed, long time no see, and I don't need to have the camera on because you know what I look like, right? It ain't anything special. So even I think we far prefer, going back to what I was saying, having if we get to that situation where we have 3 men on the 3 point but leave no shots, that's infinitely preferable to having what would we have in the other variation? If we'd done this, we would have we'd have one checker there, he would have another checker there, and then yeah, we'd have 2 checkers on the 3 point and 1 on the 2. So on that analysis, it seems better off to take one off, but of course, without stating the obvious, that if we take one off the 4 point, we leave 20 shots, as opposed to all 2s plus 6-1, 5-1, and double 1, which is 16 shots. So then, actually, when we count them, we see we only leave 4 more, if my counting is right. We leave 4 more if we take a man off the 4 point. I don't know what you're saying, Ahmad. You just found my site after my early days. My site or my site? So anyway, it looks like on balance that I'm going to go for taking one off. So like with this, or you roll, you're hoping to roll a 2 really. Yeah, Ahmad, I can't really, I'm wondering what punters, okay, plenty of punters, I get it. Like I said, with this variation, if you don't roll a 2, you roll anything but a 2, like you roll a 1, then you're going to be taking, if you roll a 5-1, let's say, or a 6-1 or a 4-1, you're going to be playing 4 off and 1 to there, and still leaving a shot, and also leaving a structure with 3 on the 3 and 1 on the 1, which is likely to produce a shot the next go. So that's not good. But like I said, if you get missed here, you're likely to leave. Although you leave no shot, you still leave 3 on the 3-point, and that is very likely to produce shots. Very likely. So he does go for the 1-off. Let's have a look. I think it's going to be right. Danny rolls a 4-3, hitting and going to the 17. Matt fans. Danny rolls a 2-1. Sort of as a last, as a sort of a second thought, he goes for 2-1, slotting the 1 point. Okay, 17-15, 2-1. Fan. So how's he going to play this? He's not going to cover. He plays 15 to the 10 point. And I don't think I'll be able to cope with this transcription, especially with all the buzz in the chat with Ahmad and Len. It's kind of getting my juices flowing. (3-1). Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have expected. Oh, I need to flick to XG. So let's see. The 3-1 Matt played like this, taking 1 off. I thought it was good. The other play is like a 7% error or a 0.13 blunder. It's fine. Ahmad says he's having his senior moments with typing. I just thought I wasn't getting something that was obvious, which is quite regular, quite a normal occurrence. So he does take the 3, the checker off, and then Danny finally hit with the 4-3. Well, finally. Matt didn't come in. I can't remember. I remember that Matt didn't come in. I think Danny rolled his 2-1. Yes, he did. He rolled his 2-1. James Painter's back. We love James. Hopefully there are none of those horrible clashing noises. I know you don't like them, James. Me neither. So he does slot the point when then he rolls a 3-2, brings it round. He's not going to close the ace point. He needs to get a checker back. Nice. He's taking his time now, and I like that. Much more measured. Matt fans again. And it's just the way, I just want to point out, you know, it's like the way that a player sort of, you can see the degree to which a player is thinking cogently or not when he just takes his hand off one checker and suddenly moves it to another one really quickly. And when there isn't too much of a delay between those two, you can see that it's more impulse than anything, and that reveals that perhaps that player is not showing a clear thought process. And you know, you see that time and time again. People sort of, they don't really necessarily want to think too much about what's going on. They just, the dice plop on the table and they will make, they'll just be guided by some sort of instinct. So this is after the 3-2. Matt fans again, and then a 2-1. And he should probably just play from the 10 point to the 7, but he goes for 23-20. Does about a volte face. That's a 4-2, I guess, going to the 14. Of course, he wants to sort of make the 7, but it's not particularly likely that he will do. It's possible. And then another fan, and then double 6. Sort of moving hand from one checker to the other. 8-2, 24-12. Okay. And then Matt rolls a 1-6. Okay, let's see how far I can. He did do that with a 3-2. Matt's gonna fan. 3-2, not closing the board. It must be. I would have thought. Well, what have we got here? Are we gonna close the board? Are we going to close the board here? No. No, of course not. So let's have a look how far back closing the board is. Where is 4-1? 4-1 is here. But the computer likes... So the computer likes coming off the 23 point. So I guess now looking at the only thing that's going to leave a shot is only thing that's going to leave a shot for black is a 1 and a 2 and double 1. But if you leave the checker on the 23 point, I suppose this is like a minor detail, but he's going to no, in fact, what's he going to do? He's going to come in with 1, and it doesn't really help him. I guess he's going to switch with 3. So why is it that you want to move off the 23? Why is it that you want to move off the 23 here? Has anyone got any ideas? Maybe just to give yourself extra covers for the 7 point. So I think the goal here is to make the 7, although it's, like I say, it's not going to be that likely that you're going to be able to do it. Anyway, so Danny rolled a 2-1. Matt fanned again. And then I think he rolled double 6, but I'm struggling to remember these plays because there's nothing really that you can sink your memory juices into. There's nothing that stands out. I think he rolled his double 6. Oh. No, he didn't. Okay. This is so painful, this. Okay, so we're going to revisit this for the 5th time. Back to the 2-1. Matt fans. Then the 4-2, right? You can't do all that much with this, but we assume you have to stay back on the 24 points. Still 1-2 and double 1 are producing the extra blot, so double 4 doesn't come in. Now he rolls the double 6. He does have to come off the 24, I see that. Okay. Does Matt come in after the double 6? Does double one hit twice? I'm just not seeing stuff. Oh, and then the 1-6 after the double 6, and then the 2-3 coming in and hitting. Matt fans. Okay, is that 5-2 right? Hold on. So what are we trying to do here? Can we possibly afford to give our opponent a number which will force him to expose a second block, and that would be by making the 7 point and playing 3-1? And I think the answer is probably no. I know the computer doesn't like it. It certainly doesn't like it on lower levels. But if you leave now, I don't know, this is just what my kind of winging it thinking. If you leave now, then I suppose you have a chance of he comes back in and then you can hit him with a 3 or a 1, then he has to hit you back. You have some chance of getting back in there, but I guess what I'm saying is that when you leave, then you might never go back, and that's really like what you don't want. So just be wary of just playing. I mean, it's probably the right play, but just to leave without thinking seems a bit sort of gung-ho maybe. All right, let's go back to the. Again, I will have forgotten the rolls. 4-2. Fan. Double 6. Don't seem to be hanging together in my memory. 1, 2. No. Did he do this? Very strange double 6 play. Why would he bring us checker to the 2 point? Anyway, Matt rolled a 1-6, came in and out, and then a 3-2. So we come back in on the 2 point, which is great. And then we... And then the 5-2. Is that right? And he just comes out, okay. And there's no other play, right? There's no other play, but we're going to think about it. Because, yeah, like Ahmad says, we've got to get the second checker. And then we just have to be able to conclude that, well, we can't afford to do anything but close the 7 point and come out and then try and get sent back there at a later stage. But maybe we'll fiddle around with the computer to see if it changes its mind. Give it a little tickle. So 5-2 comes out. I mean, 4 checkers, let's just say 4 checkers on the 3 point, 1 on the 24. Let's say you get closed out and your opponent's got 4 checkers on the 3 point and 1 on the 24. Maybe you're closing in on 48, 40, I don't know. You're not too much of a dog because of all the terrible 2s and 1s that your opponent rolls. Maybe you've got 40%. So it's not terrible for you. You've got some sort of chance. You got some sort of chance. I mean, but if you added like maybe 2 checkers to the stack there, and your opponent only had 6, 7, 8 off, then you probably wouldn't be so keen to get a checker off. So wait, what happened? You rolled a 2-1 after the 5-2. Yeah. So now that's a good sequence for Danny, of course, that Matt comes back in. But not only that, exposes a second checker. So now there is some chance that's going to go all the way to the 1 point and hit. And what's the technique now? Well, the technique is that I go and get myself some coffee. I'll be back in 2 seconds. But the technique is maybe you try not to roll a 6, and if you roll anything but a 6, of course you keep the 1 slotted, and then you keep it slotted for as long as you can, because yeah, back in a tick. Intermezzo, yeah, so oh right, it was the double 5, 1, 2, and then the double 5. You get what you pay for, James. James says a mere 3 viewers. I think the right number for this stream, this quality, is around 5.5 to 5.8. So 5.4, of course, you just know before you roll it that your strategy is not to cover the man on the 8th point. Matt fans again. So 2-1, you're just gonna. I didn't see. I saw this yesterday. I didn't get a chance, but when you roll the 2-1 here, this is Matt's roll. He's gonna fan. Then you can just play something like 2 off, and then anything that leaves the man on the 8th point. And that might not be the right play, but that's the play that seems to make sense. Don't you go anywhere, Ahmad. Mum says I shall be back. I don't know what that means. That's just an empty promise. So you would. The logic is that you leave the checker there on the 1 point, even though you leave a bad structure. Even though. So you probably. You're better off keeping the 8th point open than closing it. So the best play is to leave the man there, I think. Then take 2 off, and then closing the board is really not what you want to do. And now you've just like solidified your equity down to whatever the 40% it was. And if you want to leave a shot now, you're going to probably have to leave it at best on the 2 point, and more likely on the 6 and 5 point, which is a point that he can just come in high and roll big numbers in. And okay, double 5. So now, of course, you wouldn't leave a shot because you've got 4 checkers off. Oh, he is going to do it. Wow. And I'm going to go straight back to the stream. So that doesn't seem to make sense. Now you've got the checkers off, you don't really need to do it. So anyway, Matt rolled the 1-2. Danny rolled double 5, hitting. Matt fanned. Danny rolled 5-4, right? Matt fanned again, and then no. And then Danny rolled 2-1, and he closed the board, and the computer likes it. And I don't understand that. 1 second. I think it's just you, Len. It's just me. It could just be me. So why does the computer like to close the board here and not, hold on, and not, let's say, play 2 off, 3-2, or 4-3. So if we take 2 off, it says we've got 40%. If we play what it thinks is the best play, we've got 40%. Len says that by closing the board you can still leave more shots later, but now, like, I thought that if you close the board now, then you basically stop the possibility of being able to leave a shot on the 1 point, which is the place you really can risk leaving the shot. If you have to leave it on the 2, the 3, the 4, or the 5, or the 6, it gets a lot worse for you. So I don't see that at all. Don't see that at all. Maybe this is where the computer is not quite seeing the thing clearly. I'm not sure. Anyway, Danny rolled double 5. Four, and Matt found, and then Danny took 2 off with 3-2, which is obviously not difficult to spot. It's going to be wrong, but more interestingly, why he went for that. Like, I guess because now he's well, of course I didn't see that. So he's thinking, I'll close the board, and then, like Len, I'm gonna leave a shot when I can next time. But now you've taken 3 checkers off, you really don't need to leave a shot, because your winning chances have shot up. But here, when you're only going to have 39% when you close the board, it's really more incumbent on you to leave the shot. So that's really surprising, but he does do it. Matt fans again. But now he makes the checker safe. That doesn't, I mean, I wouldn't leave the shot, but it doesn't make sense then that if you're going to leave the shot, then you would really want to play 1 off. Matt rolls 6-3. And Danny's going to think for a little bit about recubing. Rolls a 4-2, right? I'm just reading the nonsense that you guys are putting. The rubbish, instead of the pure backgammon wisdom that is coming out of me. You're so he rolls 4-2. Just checking that it was a 4-2. Okay, yeah. And then Matt rolls a 5-3. Coming round. So that should be enough to save him, right? 5-3 should be 5-4. And I predicted this right. I've seen this before. I watched a little bit of it. 2-1. And I believe, for what it's worth, so Danny doesn't even stop. I thought he would stop. Now we've got a race deficit, a match score deficit, a little bit, not much of one, but we've got like a gin 3-roll position, like as in we're going to be getting off in 3 rolls every time, and we're on roll. So like, you know, just imagine that's meant to be taking 2 off. We take 2 off. And we're left with 4 checkers, and our opponent, even if he rolls like a really good number like 6-3, we're on roll and we're favourite to. We can either roll a double, we'll have 4 checkers left and win immediately, or we can roll a non-double, and then our opponent has 16 rolls that miss. Sorry, 20 rolls that miss. Because he will miss with any one or any 2. So, what are we saying? Yeah, we're saying that to an advanced player that this structure would immediately see that this is a very strong position for them, and they would either think quite hard about cubing and maybe not cube, or they would think about cubing and they would cube. Yeah, and it wasn't. I saw it on the stream, and I'm not sure if I can believe it's a pass. I think I might pass it. One of the things, I could be wrong about this, is that as black, if you're recubed, you don't get very much chance of... You don't get very much from owning the cube. In that way, it's like a dead cube. You can almost never recube. You either win, like, with a double 6, or you don't. So, let's input some moves into the machine before I forget. So he took off with the 3-2. Guess what? I've forgotten. James, where are you? Are you a Brit or are you an American or something else? Because I've seen your name. Here's the 3-2. Okay, I can't remember what. I think. Oh, that's the 4-1. So Matt fanned, and then the 4-1, and then I still can't remember what he rolled. We got 1 Oz. We got 1. Brit, we got 1. Oh, Matt rolled 6-3. And I don't remember what Danny rolled. 4-2. I didn't remember that at all. And I remember that Matt rolled 5-3. James is a yank. 5-4, 4-2, 5-3. Okay, my memory isn't just not. It's just not computing this stuff. So Matt fanned, right? And then we had a 4-1, and he played 2-1. Matt came in with a 6-3, then the 4-2, 5-3. I can't remember. Was it a 4-3? It doesn't matter. Thank you for calling the rolls. And then Matt rolled the 2-1. Coming and taking checker off, and this is a pass, we think, and I think he rolled double. Well, no spoilers, but maybe some of you guys have seen the stream. Ahmad, you're dismissed now. We have 5 viewers. So double 4. And then double 6. Alright. Let's have a look at the game. Should we start from the end first? Might as well, because the cube's really, this is really important. So he's got, it's an 80-20 proposition, so at any score, pretty much any score, this is a big pass. So it's as big a cube as it is a pass. And obviously if he'd have cubed, Matt would have passed, and he would have been 3-2 up. As it stands, he didn't cube. He rolled a double 4, Matt rolled a double 6. And the game ended, and Matt won 2 points, and the score went 4-1. So a very, very big swing, obviously, in backgammon terms. And then to go back to where we were, we discussed this yesterday. Check the first video. We got to this cube. We just discussed it a little bit. It looked to me like it was a cube, but I've analysed this on higher levels. I don't want to do it now. And even on XGR++, it's quite a big error, or even bigger to cube. I don't really know why, because I'm sort of transfixed by being able to unload my 2 in his face onto the 4 point, and that seems a really good thing for me. And he's got a bald 8 point. He'd love to have a checker there. Perhaps it's to do with the way 5s play, as in they don't play so well. I don't really know. Have we got any yeah, I'm thinking about, James says easier to do the XG than the video, and I could just do XG to start with, but then I kind of want to keep some sort of I don't want to just go through what the computer says. I want to try and let's see if we can work out what makes sense without relying too much on what the computer says, and then just use the computer to confirm or deny our suspicions. And then all these moves were pretty much forced, 6-1, and then I questioned in yesterday's video whether or not 16-13 was reasonable, because again, it is a decision. They leave totally different sorts of, some backgammon plays are trivial because they don't leave positions that are very different, but playing 16-13 as opposed to the play that Matt made, 8-7-7-5, leaves a totally different sort of structure, and therefore can leave totally different positions down the line. And actually the first 3 plays according to XG Roller Plus are very close. So what can you can't really glean all that much from that, just that they happen to have different different values and different things going for them, and they happen to balance out, all being said. But I quite like 16-13 just because it leaves a clean position and nothing can go wrong. And then this 3-4 happens to be one of those plays where they're completely different. Like one leaves like a gazillion, fazillion blots, and the other just tidies up. And that's part of the thing, maybe, is like not being too concerned about like 1 millipoint of equity, but just about like what kind of position do you prefer after, even if maybe you're going to make a mistake, and maybe it's human to sort of prefer, if we can avoid that temptation to hit, maybe it's human to prefer this sort of structure where we've got a defined position and we don't have to be hit and gammoned, and we can just about hang in there. Then Matt rolled the 4-2, which was big, and then this kind of, it was a question of whether Danny was going to be able to make the 23, make the double anchor, and if he could, he was going to have okay timing. Timing's usually okay in these double anchor games. It's never usually full back game. This 6-2, again, I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't really know. I talked about that. Double 3, and all of this was forced. And we pretty much talked about it. I'm going to see if I can squeeze another game in. We've got 4 people. Why not? Lovely, Ahmad. Ahmad says he's off. Good format. Thank you very much for watching. Perhaps we'll bump into each other at a tournament. Ahmad lives in London and I do too, so don't forget to subscribe. And alright, so Matt won this game, and then I think what's most interesting generally, kind of the opening, where I've realized that the opening illustrates so much about what we need to be doing, why, how, when, more than anything. So let's see how this game opens. Part of the bourgeoisie, Ahmad says. Yes. Yes, you are. Don't forget to subscribe though, mate. Come on. I'll be watching you. 6-1. Okay, so we can't get anything. Well, okay. I didn't remember this. And he goes for this 13-2, and I wasn't going to say anything about that because I was anticipating 2 down, which I think all of you guys would play. I'm assuming that all you guys are pretty decent players from your comments. And even though 13-2 minimizes shots, you really don't want to make the 2 point if you get missed, which you would have to do. Len, lovely to have you. See you soon. Thank you for all your help and advice. And so you would just play 2 down, and then anyway, you guys know that, so that doesn't reveal too much. So interesting that he plays all the way to the 2. 6-2 seems like reasonable to play 2 down. So what I'm doing here is I'm counting the race. We know that we've opened up with a 6-1, that's 7 pips. Our opponent's rolled 11. So we're going to be 4 down before the roll, and then having rolled 8, we're going to be 4 up after the roll. Yeah, Danny's like, I chose this match. Mop-Up says it appears that Danny's an intermediate player, and I was watching Bill's commentary, which was excellent, and he said that Danny came along with a friend of his and they play at a country club and they've never played in a tournament, and that takes enormous balls to just to sit down 5k tournament if you've only played social. So yeah, part of the reason I chose this match is because I didn't know the name and I wondered where they'd come from. The other guy I think was, I forget his name now, but 2 names I hadn't heard of, and they both entered this big 5k tournament. So anyway, back to the 6-2. If I'm going to be 4 up after the roll, then maybe it's okay to run, because if you're up in the race, you generally want to run, but then you question whether 4 pips is enough to make it, to warrant that running strategy. It's going to be close, I guess, between there, and then you look at the other factors. Balls, yeah, balls, smaller balls if you've got more dollars, that's true, I guess. I mean, I always think that people are poor because I'm so poor, but maybe some people have money. So he does split with the 6-2. He does split. And if you've got money, James, then you know where you can donate to this stream. Still accepting friendly donations. So he does split and plays one down, which leaves a kind of slight vulnerability. Mop-Up says he wouldn't have done that. What would you have done? Oh, hi, Chris Rowley is here. Afternoon? Is it afternoon already? And then 5-4. Why are we... So now, after I think Danny playing pretty well, and now I'm thinking about that 2-1, where in the last game, if you were watching, where I don't understand why the computer closed the board, the game where we're trying to get a checker back. Yeah, Troy Phillips, that's one. That's the one. Did you remember that? Or anyway, so apart from that, I think Danny seemed to play pretty well, and now what is after the 6-5, which wasn't good, and now this 5-4, it's a pretty obvious play to hit and cover, to cover the 2 and hit on the 3. I would have thought. Okay, so you're one of my kind, yeah. So 5-4, he's going to cover and come down. I don't mind that. I think maybe that's okay actually, rather than running. Of course, you need to cover. So another 6-2 for Matt. This is all new to me. I haven't seen this, so I'm just kind of commenting on the hoof. But of course, he's going to play what he plays, nullifying to some extent the checkers on the stack on the 8 and the 6 point. 4-6, good fluid play, reaches for the right checker at the right time. Double 3, monster, makes the 4, and I think the 5 is going to be superior to the 3. There is something to be said about this, but then what I notice with this potentially is the difficulty of being able to make the 5 point now, which is likely always to be the difficulty if when you have this structure and you make the 3 point. And therefore, if it's true that it's going to be difficult to make the 5 point, then the question to ask is, how important is it to have the 5 point in this sort of structure? And then I think the answer to that is that it is quite important. I think it's quite important. I mean, if we don't have the 5 point, he can just come up with a 4, right? Which is good and bad for him, but it's what he needs to do to escape that checker. If we've got the 5 point, then he obviously can't come up, and then I'm getting there in the end. If we're going to make this structure and we can't make the 5 point, then okay, I had it, but I lost it. But I'll try and complete that thought later. Or in other words, like when you do this, you don't really desperately need the 3 point. You've got the structure you need. You don't really need to improve. But here there's a sense or a dynamic that you need to improve and make the 5 point. Hey Reese. Reese is here. The future of United Kingdom backgammon rests on Reese's shoulders. He is the best young player I've come across. Well, and Oliver. In fairness, Oliver's a great player as well. But I think Oliver's a little bit older than Reese. Oliver and Reese. Yeah, so that's my thinking, that once you make the 5 point, you've kind of achieved what you need to achieve. Whereas if you don't make the 5, you're kind of wanting to make the 5 and not being able to do so. If any of that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know what my 6-1, so he's going to leave a shot which he plays really quickly. I mean, can you afford just to leave a 2 with that structure? So again, looking at what people do and how and what time they take, you know, maybe if you think, oh, when you roll a 6-1 you make the bar, then you're going to do that, but it can't be that simple. And then after that, when I have a 2 and an 11 and I've got a 4 prime, a stinky dirty 4 prime, I'm gonna really I'm gonna think long and hard about whether I can afford not to cube. That's the question. Can I really afford not to double? Oliver's younger than you. All right, okay. In any case, you're both absolutely exceptional, and it will be not very long before you overtake me if you haven't done so already. So yeah, now he leaves the 2, I'm going to think about it. So I'm going to pause the video and we're going to try and go back to this horrible board and input some moves. All we need to do is remember the first roll and we're good to go. Matt rolled a 6-1. Okay. And Danny rolled a 6-5 and misplayed it. And then Matt rolled a 6-2. I feel that he should come down with the 2 a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure. Then Danny rolled his 5-4, and I initially said that he should hit and cover with that kind of certainty that is not justified. But I kind of like his play now I come to think of it. And then Matt rolled a 6-2, and I can't remember, but I think Danny rolled a 6-4. But I'm gonna have to go back to the stream. He's failed again. See, for some reason some things stick in the memory and some don't, and I think he did roll a 6-4 and Matt rolled a 3-3. Yeah, it looks like it from here, right? And then the 6-1, and that was it. So hardly any moves, so we can go back to... So the coming out, Mop-Up said he would have thought about coming out. I think that there's no other play you can make. So let's look at the coming out play. And I think Reese is going to agree with me that there's no other play to make. But then... So we haven't got the answer, so I'm not going to be cheating in any way. But like, the only thing that you really want to do in this position, I assume you're talking about this, is come out. Mop-Up said I would have thought about coming out. Oh, you would have thought about coming out, so I misunderstood your comment. Fine. Or you would have thought about not coming out. Now I'm confusing myself. And then all that thinking about the 3-3 that I did, and I was wrong. We were wrong. That it's better to make the 4 point than the 3 point. So can we reverse engineer? Actually, it gets close on XG plus. Back to the 5-4, and it is right to make the 3 point, hit on the 3, hit loose on the 3 and make the 2. That's just standard. And then the 6-1 is not as big a mistake as I would have thought. I would have thought that you cannot afford to leave a shot. I don't know what I would have done actually. I would have perhaps played the best play, just playing clean, not leaving a shot. And then we're going to go back to the stream. We, as in, you know, we're all in this together, James. You and me, and Reese, and Oliver. It's not us and them, it's just us. So anyway, we're going back to the cube action. So Mop-Up, were you considering the 6-4? So Matt's thinking, he's down to 13 minutes. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, fine, good play. Yeah, coming out is good. So, I mean, I've kind of already made my decision, which is good and bad. So, and then maybe if I'm feeling patient, I'm gonna just look at a few of the numbers that aren't obvious, like how am I going to play a 6-4 or even a 6-3? I guess both are going to be played 2 down. And am I going to be hitting with any of the 5s? At 5-1, probably going to be playing 6-1 hit, 6-5. This is a weird one. To me it looks as if Danny's, and what he's saying, I don't think, can we hear the audio? No, we can't. Why is that? Danny actually says, no, I was taking, but to me it looked like he was passing. And this is, again, one of the awkward numbers. Most people would play 2 down, and then we look at the play that is probably the one that we're not going to end up playing, just so that we can rule it out, I suppose. I prefer to visualize than to put stuff on the board. I don't know whether that's good or not. It's sort of testing my visualization skills. Let me, I'm going to pause it a little bit just to try and see if I can think anything about this position. Oh, maybe we can. Thank you, Reese. So we got off. We're looking at this 4-3, right? We're looking at this 4-3. Nice. Okay, can we pause it? And so how do we decide? I hope that some of us will at least consider anything other than 13-10, 13-9. And I think it's right to consider it, even if you're not going to play it. And if we consider it, then I don't know, just what I see is that if we don't get hit with a 6, it's super strong. It's super strong. And of course, if we get hit with a 6, it's not terrible, but it's kind of giving away something we didn't need to give away. So how do we make the decision whether or not it's worth giving away something we didn't really need to give away to make a super strong structure? Well, maybe if we look at what it looks like with 2 down there, we look at how our subsequent roles are going to play. Like, are we going to be able to kind of effectively use this stack on the 3-point? Are we going to be able to make on the 6-point, are we going to be able to make the 3-point? If we play 14-2 down from the mid, then we release the pressure on this guy, so that, for example, if this blue colour, if Danny was to roll a 3-1, he would be able to make the 5 point without risking leaving a 2 shot, although he would still leave an 11 from the 22. So I'm just saying, like, when you get to the higher level, you can't just make the obvious play without thinking, unless you're like super sharp, which I'm not. I mean, it's not obvious to me that 13-10, 13-9 is the best move by a long way. I mean, I would probably play it, but I don't really know, is the answer. And then what we're looking for is, if we make the 3 point, like, are we making the 6s that would otherwise be bad for him good? Like, in other words, he doesn't really have such great 6s. So that's an indicator that we don't want to leave him a 6 that hits that would be a good 6. I don't know, that's just my kind of riffing on this, my bullshit, the Barjet bullshit on this play. So I see the quandary. I really love this structure. I'm interested what you guys would go for, and whether or not you would think about it. This, because you're giving away 6s, and that this looks 13-10, 13-9 looks kind of acceptable on the follow-up. I don't think I would give it. Reese would make the 3. Okay, so now that sways me in favour of the 3. I think Matt is going to play 2 down. Yeah. Why would you? Well, 2-1. This is not so easy either, because so Danny's got a 2 to play from here. So this 2-1 is an interesting one, like, because aside from the fact that you want to get up to the edge of the prime, really, you don't want to leave a blot here. Let's say you get pointed on, and then there's this other blot hanging about. So it's kind of incumbent on us to get this guy safe if we can. And then if you're going to get this guy safe and you decide it's too risky to come up to the 22, then you're going to play 8-6 and then question whether you really want to do that. So a mop-up would play 2 down. I'd ease it for sure. I think James means... okay, we'll see. We'll see about the 4-3. It's really interesting. That So anyway, the 2-1 is not... It's not easy. You know, you could make the 12 point. You could do all sorts of stuff. But probably coming up to the 23 is necessary, just because you don't want to just stay back and lose the game. But it's no picnic just to leave this blot on the 12 point, leaving 6-3. I guess it does only leave 6-3. Double fort. I don't remember this, but wow. Just wow. And now there's this second blot hanging about, right? Unless he rolls like the 1-4, 1-5, 1-6 right now. So with the 4-3, Reese says it puts a lot of pressure on the 24, and I think the 3-1 and 4-2 not making points with complete freedom is worth a lot. Yeah, that's what you've got to see, and Reese sees that. I don't think it necessarily means, it's just something that once you see these things, then hopefully the more we see, the more likely we are to understand, and the more chance we have of making the right decisions. So anyway, Matt doubled this, right? I believe it's got to be a double. And take. Danny sort of passed and then took, but take is good. Right, and then we have the 4-3. Okay, so there we have another one of these, like, tied. It's tied. Let's see what XG Roller Plus says. And while it's doing that, well, let's input the 2-1, which he just kind of, again, without really worrying too much about it, just played that, and then we have double 4, and then we have wipeout. So just a few moves at a time. Again, on plus it's still equal, but I think XG Roller Plus kind of is the level, which analysis level, which really ups it a notch, is a little bit more reliable. So making the 3-point wins more gammons, I mean, yeah, that's maybe what we needed to state explicitly. But the one that wins most games, like Mop-Up said, like, why give him a 6? Well, if you get hit with a 6, I just kicked the cat. Hee if you get hit with a 6, you're going to lose more games, so that makes sense, right? The 2-1, I guess he didn't have much choice, but still, just to, you can't afford to play 24-22 and 14-13. Okay, let's go back to the stream. This is a lovely little juicy this is a juicy game. This is a really interesting, instructive game. So what did we have? We had a fan, and then we have a 2-1. Yeah, splitting, obviously. And this is another one that is kind of, I wouldn't bet on. Well, I might bet on it. Depends. I would hit. I think I was watching the match, and in the chat, I think Chris Trencher put I would hit, and I assume he was referring to this play, because I wasn't sure whether the chat was in sync. But the idea is that if you just play like something which you think is possibly safe, you're still leaving 4-3, 5-2, 6-1, 6-2, 5-3. That's 10 shots, plus whatever else is going to hit there and most likely freeze the position so that you get another chance of doing so, of hitting this block here. But if you actually play this and there's a checker already there, then you have a chance of anchoring, and also you have a chance of maybe you don't get hit back. So I would hit on the 5-point. James would hit. Good. But I know that Danny doesn't. He plays 6-3. That's just, it doesn't make sense to do that. Once you add up all the stuff that can do things to you. So 5-2 is going to hit in the outfield. Of course, not hitting him board. You need to pick up that man, the extra man. 5-4, he's just pulling the dice to the centre. Of course, he's going to hit loose on the ace and then bring a checker into the 5-point. Is that maximum covers? So Mop-Up hits, yeah. 5-6 is going to fan. And it looks like we're going to have a closed board. Maximum covers. How do you play the 1? Maybe you come up to give yourself a passable double 4. I think double 4 would have been awkward or broken the board otherwise. 6-1. Are we going to remember? I think we might remember this. 2-1 is going to hit the checker. Alright. Let's input some moves. Oops, sorry. So we have the fan. Then we had the 2-1, right? And then we had the 1-3. Is that what we had? I'm not 100% sure. 5-2, fan, 5-4 for Matt. Am I right? Fan, 6-1. No, not for you. Oops. So Danny fanned, and then Matt rolled the 6-1. Came up. And then we had a 1-6 and then a 2-1. Is that right? I think we're right. I think we're good, right? Matt's got checkers there. Yeah, I think we're good. We're good, okay. So can James anchor? No, he doesn't. This is after the 2-1. 6-4 is going to hit again. And then maybe you can come out because double 3 is going to crack. Otherwise, I think I would come out. Okay, Matt does come out. Fan. Double 2 is going to close the board, and I'm going to just get Danny to resign a gammon. We can move on to the next game and have as much fun, much more fun than back to the stream. Have I gone wrong? I don't know, something like this. But anyway, we're gonna... I know that Danny loses a gammon, so I'm gonna prematurely resign him. He won't mind.
I resign again.
I resign a gammon. I accept. I resign. Okay. Back to the next one. So Matt's 8-1 up. What's going on? Okay. Some sort of double 5 coming up. Okay, this is after the 5-4. The 6-3 is like something that you probably wouldn't play unless you know, you've got XG, and Danny probably doesn't have XG. I think running is actually not too bad. But the thing about running is that it's vulnerable to being hit from the mid and from the guy on the 20 point. So if you're running, you kind of hope that you're going to get missed enough to justify the run. And if there are quite a few shots on you and that you might not be able to get missed, then you have to reconsider whether it's right to risk running. And therefore this is just something we can just memorize. A normal score, as in an even score or where you're behind, you just do something completely different, and you hit on the 5 point, which isn't like a picnic because you rip a checker off the kind of balled 8 point and then you play 13-7. Yeah, this is standard play. So, you know, just to note that it makes sense that Danny doesn't even play that. I mean, I don't think he's kind of sandbagging. Double six is just going to come round from the 20 point. Now, Matt's goal is just to play a simple game where he escapes the back checker. Okay, this is a nasty. It's kind of a nasty play, right? Even if you're well ahead in the match, right? So Danny's going to roll a 2-1, and even if you're well ahead, you're not trying to play safe, as in you're not winning the game by getting that checker to safety. You're winning the game by other means, other necessary means. And how are you winning the game? Well, by blocking in that guy on the 24 point, I guess. And also, you're not winning the guy. Generally, it's good to play safe, so it's not going to be terrible to play 15 to 13, but since it doesn't meet the demands of the position, demands are that you need to kind of not race because you're behind, and unstack your checkers and you're just trying to block this guy in, really. That's what I'm trying to say. So you shouldn't even really be thinking about moving this guy at all. You should just stay there. It's just like, that's the best you can do with this roll. 13, 11, 5. Reese confirms it, but Danny doesn't, you know, doesn't see that at all. Now it just makes it easier for Matt to escape. If he rolls a 6-2 now, for example, double 5. Okay, that's how we got to the position. Well, I don't think... Can you afford not to hit on the 2 point? Possibly. Possibly. I think Matt's going to have a look at this. The problem this suffers with the kind of gappy... It's got gappy syndrome going on. And then you have to evaluate how bad it is to have that gap. It's not too bad, because when your opponent just comes in, you've got some stuff that you can hit him with. But the numbers that you really are going to want to hit him with when he comes in are 1s and 2s, possibly. You're not guaranteed to roll 1s and 2s. So maybe you can afford not to hit and just let him roll. Give him his full roll and trust that he won't roll something that improves, and maybe he's like 50-50 to roll something good. Ace point looks more fluid, James says. Yeah, for sure, it makes better use of the checkers. And like, let's say he rolls like a... Well, then now looking at the position, it seems like what is going to be bad? 6-5. Although even 6-5 now for him is not too terrible, because it just unstacks. So I'm going to trust Matt on this one. He doesn't hit. 4-1, and now that Matt's got 2 points in board, can he afford to make that unstacking play, the kind of 2-1 idea? Probably. No, I'm not sure. Not sure. 4-2 is obvious. 2 choices, Blitz or Prime. Exactly, Eric Barfoot. That's like Barjet. Barfoot, you're my cousin. So wait, I lost track after the 4-2. So a really nice kind of balanced game with lots of instructive decisions. 6-3 we're going to run, and if we can get missed, then yeah, it's a big gain for sure. It's not, we haven't won the game. Now he's just going to make the 5 point. Nice. So we've earned that. We made the right play with the 6-3, and now there's a chance of not losing the race and not being hit. So ace-4, like, can you come up here? I've sort of switched off. Can you come up here? I'm assuming, I would think about it, but probably dismiss it. Dismiss it is what I was trying to say. And this is a difficult 6-5. Again, Danny's not going to take too much time, but it is difficult because, well, for obvious reasons, but it demands that you assess the values in the position, like the values of not being hit versus the values of making an extra point, values of leaving 2 blots or 3 blots. James says he would have come up with the 4-1. So what are we going to do with this 6-5? Yeah, no cube. I don't think he had any opportunity to cube. Reese says. The problem is there's a problem with this kind of hitting play. Maybe we can dismiss it because it doesn't achieve enough. But I'm not even sure if we can dismiss it on that basis, because it does really unstack the checkers very nicely. So maybe we can only dismiss it on the basis that it leaves too many shots. Who knows? And then the problem with this kind of normalish play of playing 13-8, 10-4 is that it puts 6 checkers on the 8 point and doesn't guarantee that if you get missed that you're going to make the 4 point. And even when you miss, if you make the 4 point, let's say with a 2, you're still going to have 6 checkers on the 8 point, which you don't want, and it leaves a dirty structure. And then 6-2 is the kind of play where I guess you're leaving some sort of minimum. Maybe you're leaving 11 ones plus 6, 3, 5, 4, double 3, so you're leaving 16 shots. Maybe that isn't minimum actually. But it leaves an okay, a slightly easier position to bring home. So I don't think that that's an easy play whatsoever. So he does go, maybe this is right, just to play that. Maybe this is right, but let's just go back one step. The 4-1 where James would have come up, let's just go back one step and say that we're going to play 13-7, 6-1, and we're going to count the... Oh, no, we're going to not... This is after the 4-1. This is what it looks like after. We're going to play 13-7, 6-1, and it's going to leave all ones plus 5-2, 4-3, 4-6, and double 5, which is 18 shots. So it's only 2 more shots than 13-2. That's it. That's all I wanted to say about that. We're up to 10 viewers. Yeah, really difficult play. Really nasty against a 5-point board. Seems natural, but again, like taking a checker off a stack with 4 on isn't that important. And now the 3 is a decision. I wouldn't have played 7-4. Matt didn't take too much time. Maybe noticed that didn't immediately notice there was a block there on the board, and then there's a fan, and obviously it's too good. Now I think you can just safety the block on the 7. I would not want to be hit on the 7 point. I mean, it doesn't seem to make sense to then play 7-6 and then move a checker back down to the 7 point. I just lost a little bit of... I lost my bearings because I was always looking at how many viewers I've got. Always looking. So 6-1, yeah, and does play 15-9. All right, let's go back to the XG. What did we have? I've completely forgotten. He rolled a 6. Is that what he rolled a 6-5? That was the last game. What did he roll first, guys? Someone remind me. Was it 5-4 and then 6-3 run? Was that it? Five-four, and then Danny ran with a 6-3, and then 5-4, 6-3, and now my memory's gone again. Someone 5-4, making the, yeah. Was it 5-4? Was it 5-4? Making the, no, is that right? What did Matt roll after? What did he roll? What were we talking about? He didn't roll 5-5. Ah, yeah, James, of course, 6-6. Thank you, my man. 6-6, and then the 2-1, which we hate, right? And then the 5-5, right? And then, did James roll a 4-2? Did James roll a 4-2? Someone? So let's I think he made some sort of point in board, and then Matt rolled a 4-2 before James escaped. Before Danny escaped. So the 6-3 is about 0.05. 6-6 is right, and then the 2-1 we don't like. It's actually it's a humongous blunder. 0.28. What did we have a 4-2? The 2-1 is this. What did we have? What did we have next? He didn't make a point in board, but he didn't roll. Did he roll a 6-3? No. No. Am I gonna have to go back to the stream? What did he roll? I don't think he rolled the 6-3 then, but he didn't. Well, okay. This is the 5-5. Maybe he did roll the 6-3. Ah, no, this is the 4-1. Okay, I get it. Okay. There we go. I had it on the board, 4-1. Then I think Matt must have rolled his 4-2. And then 6-3. Double 1, right? Are we good? 6-3 again. Doing this, and then the 4-1. Schmatt played 8-7, 8-4. Interesting, unusual. And then the 6-5. It's also really difficult. And then the double 3. I think we're right. And then fan. And then I think 6-1, but I think there might have been an interim rule here. But anyway, I gotta shoot, so I gotta shoot up. So I'm going to just have a look through this game. Like, if you're not gonna play 13-7-8-5, your next best bet is 24-18-8-5. Rather than 24-15. The double 6 is, I think, although 13-1 is close, I don't think that's the right idea. So, and then this 2-1 is a huge blunder, and we'd never have guessed it was such a big blunder. Why is it such a big blunder? I don't really know why. And then the double 5. Just, I mean, this is easy to say that it's very normal to do this. And this is the kind of imaginative play. But I think I saw this, that if you do this, there is still so many reasonable roles for blue, given his full role, that it just doesn't make it worthwhile to do this. And the reason why you're doing this is supposedly to make a smoother distribution and keep him primed in a way, like Eric said, Eric Barjet. And then I said about whether or not you could afford to play 13-9 and 6-5, and you can by a long way still, even though he's got these 2 points in board. James says, 'cause stiff and stacked. And then 4-2 is a great roll, 3-6 is a good roll, and yeah, what am I saying? This was a cube. And Reese asked about the cube, and I didn't even consider cubing here at all. I just didn't think this was a cube. But maybe if I'd have stopped, yeah, maybe if I'd have stopped, I would have seen this. Maybe I would have seen this. Like 33. I don't think Matt even stopped to consider. And then another huge cube, even leading 8-1. Wow. And I'm very much not an advocate of like, oh, you're up in the match, so why risk it? I love to nail these cubes and understand what's going on, but I didn't even give this a second thought. I think possibly against a player like Danny, Matt had already decided he wasn't going to cube this, but we're not playing Danny, we're just trying to work out what the best decision is. So that's a bit of a bummer, you know, not to see. It's a bit tricky because he kind of rolls his great number. This is what it is. He rolls this good number, gets him out of dodge. So you're thinking, well, now he's done that, it can't be very strong because he's actually escaped what he really needs to escape. He's got out of danger. But then this one, well, if you're not going to cube the first one, then you're probably not going to cube this one either. So that makes sense. And then we go back to then seeing that in order to be able to cube here, you need to be able to accept that even when your opponent moves out of danger, the primary danger, there's still secondary danger. And that danger is that you're 33 pips up in the race and all that stuff. That's how you kind of find the double here. But you know, the thing is that it's so extreme in a sense that what you have to do is like, I can be a bit extreme with it, is you leave the position on the board and just look at it for as long as you can, just to kind of get a sense of it. And then maybe if you're feeling very patient and tolerant, you play from position on XG to see what happens. But you've got to kind of find a way of getting your brain to change its pattern and absorbing something new and changing the way it wants to see the position. Otherwise, you're just going to kid yourself that you're going to understand what's happening, you're going to change your decision. But you need to you need to really be honest with yourself and find a way of changing your mind. So Muppet says go to dice distribution and see all the bad rolls Danny has on these cubes. Yeah, I don't know if I can do that because I've got window capture, so you won't see that on. Yeah, but you know what, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. I think those two games, the first two was a bit of a shit show, but this was much more interesting. Oh, we can find these decisions now. We can go back to anything it didn't. So this cube from Matt was actually borderline. Yeah, and we didn't see this 1-3, which was James spotted that immediately. Again, a huge blunder. So James says can't blame Matt for not doubling a weaker player, but question actually whether this position is so strong that that you don't mind doubling. Also seeing that your opponent might not redouble you in the right spot, and if he does redouble you, you're just happy to pass. So yeah, I got there in the end. I'm gonna probably, who knows, depends how I feel, continue with this this match. It's still not over, it's only 8-1. I don't know how it finished actually, but anyway, thank you very much for watching and all your comments. It's good stuff, all good stuff, and catch you guys soon.